to a live webinar, and we're going to talk about today the things that you wish you knew before launching your holiday campaigns. And I've been very sort of kind of nicely joined by a few of our key panel here. So I'm going to pass around everybody to introduce yourself. So first of all, let's start with Nicola.
Hi, I'm Nicola Fox, and my background's in retail. I've worked in healthcare, fashion and gifting for over 20 years, and I now work freelance, consulting on how to put your strategy into practice on CRM and loyalty.
Fantastic, thank you, Nicola. And over to you, Diego.
Hi everybody, I'm Diego. Have like some experience specifically for app marketing. Now I'm working at Luisa Veroma, which is a luxury online retailer. And yeah, I basically take care of all the app marketing strategies from acquisition to engagement and conversion.
Fantastic, thank you, Diego. And then we'll go to Dennis. Over to you, Dennis, sir.
Yeah, hello everyone. So I'm Dennis. I'm the app marketing manager at Apfollow. So the Apfollow team and I help worldwide mobile companies to cultivate better user experience, like with the reviews management, and also like to accelerate app growth using both our platforms and also our professional services.
Fantastic, thank you, Dennis. And my name is Jason Smith. I am the VP of Sales at MoEngage for Europe and the UK, technically. Yeah, pleased to meet you all. So let's jump into our webinar and sort of stuff today. So from a format, so this is the agenda. So we're going to talk about, first of all, some buying trends for 2021 review. So we're going to look at some stats and interesting figures from that one. We're going to look at the sort of kind of 2020 holiday predictions, which I think are key as we sort of kind of move into this busy time of the year. And then we're also going to talk, what the holiday shoppers expect from you, as I said, when they expect you as brands and as customer providers and sort of stuff there as well. So we're going to delve into some data and sort of stuff around that, and then we're going to enter our panel discussion with our industry experts that you've just all met, and then we're going to talk about a surprise launch at the end of it, and also we'll make sure that we give some ample time to Q&A. So make sure you can ask all your really important questions and sort of stuff from there. So let's jump into that sort of side. So first of all, I'm going to kick things off just to wake everybody up in an afternoon or morning or evening, depending on where you are in the world. So from a poll perspective, you should hopefully have had a poll that's just come up now. I'm going to launch it. So what we need to do is we just want to kind of assess from everybody, how prepared you feel for your holiday marketing campaigns that are coming up. So I'm going to launch it now. So feel free to pop your answers here. You should see it on the screen where it's kind of coming up live as well. Okay, so a lot of people, middle of the road. Nobody's committing to be fully prepared at the moment, so just give that a minute or two. So we've had quite a few people putting it through so far. Looks like everybody's lowballing their preparation for this year. So just give it a minute or two just to see what other ones being added to it. Okay, so just to sort of kind of recap on the stats. So 0 being least prepared, 5 being most prepared on a rating sort of scale. So we've currently got 75% of people have gone middle of the road at number 3. 25% have got number 2. What's interesting, simple maths, 75% and 25%, 0 went for 5 and 4, and 0 went for 1 and 0. So it's so I guess on the positive side, people feel like they've at least started it or semi-prepared from that perspective as well. So that's so thanks very much for your participation on that one. So what we can derive out of that is basically people are still working it out. People still don't have all the answers. So let's see if we can solve a few of those and sort of stuff today from that perspective. So just end the poll here. I'm going to share the results with all of you anyway, so you can see it from that side. And then without further ado, and as I said, we'll kind of share the recording from today's session as well. So let's go into the next sort of slide. So first on the agenda was to look back at the holiday shopping season for 2021. So what figures and stuff have we seen here? So first of all, 1.14 trillion spent on the holiday shopping globally, and 2.578 billion in the US alone. So, a significant figure to when we look at the sort of size of volume for holiday shopping. So what do we know? Last year, despite COVID and all the craziness sort of stuff that was going on, there was still a massive drive towards kind of holiday shopping season. A lot of people were, certainly splurging and sort of investing in that sort of kind of period. 67% of those e-commerce sales came from mobile. So we've always known that a massive kind of growth trajectory in mobile spending has greatly increased. 30% of all retail sales were from shopping holiday. So, significant number considering 30% is just driven from those retail sales from holiday shopping alone. So that's, I think, quite a significant figure to look at when you look at the, as I said, the first figure, the amount is actually spent. And 18% of growth, sales growth from the 2 weeks before Christmas and 16% in Boxing Week. So again, quite a sizable, size of opportunity for based on that sort of kind of huge pot that's available that were retail sales of the sort of kind of holiday shopping period. And 45% of the shoppers started in their holiday shopping in October. So, I'm sure everybody's getting earlier and earlier and earlier. Everybody knows when to sort of kind of press the trigger on those sort of kind of campaigns, but, we're talking a massive opportunity pot here. So it's most importantly that going back to the results where, we were still middle of the road about execution, preparation. It's certainly worth doing that investment and that preparation because the size of the pot is huge. So I'm going to pass over to Dennis now, who's going to sort of talk us a little bit around the sort of kind of engagement from brands before and after holidays. So over to you, Dennis, just to walk us through these. This slide, and we've got 2 slides. So over to you, sir.
Thank you. So here I want to share with you the idea, like even if we're talking a lot today about like the holidays and holiday season and so on, still all the marketing people, all the marketers and product teams like need to think beyond just like these events, just Black Friday or Christmas, because you can find this opportunity to engage with the users, with the shoppers throughout the year. And like this data on the chart shows us that the shoppers, the travelers, the users of the apps in these categories are highly engaged during a more extensive timeline, a more extensive period than only the holidays. You can see that the numbers are pretty much the same before, during, and after the holidays, both in terms of the numbers of reviews and also in terms of the average rating of these reviews. So we don't see any significant spikes during this holiday period there. So engagement, especially with the reviews, is remaining consistent regardless of the holidays or some other specific season.
Fantastic. And let me just go on to the next slide.
Yeah, so here the data is pretty much the same. So let's move on with the next slides. Perfect.
Fantastic. So, we know there's no better time to focus on the holiday marketing campaigns. As I said, we talk, shoppers plan to spend this year. We're talking about Halloween, Hanukkah, New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So we're talking a huge sort of kind of volume, and it's actually quite surprising. I mean, when I saw this particular article, on the campaign, it's just I was really interested in how much the investment was in Halloween. I know that's a bit of a sort of kind of regional nuances sort of stuff there as well, but there's some big spends when it comes to Christmas and Thanksgiving, especially, and New Year's Eve and sort of side there. So we know the size of the pots, the size of the purchase, is certainly great. So it's something we definitely need to focus on from that sort of side. When we talk about the industry is growing despite the economic sort of kind of headwinds, everybody's sort of talking about recessions, everybody's talking about a whole issues that are going on in the world at the moment. But still the prediction is for 2022 is, the holiday retails is, certainly sales to increase, 3.3%. E-commerce holidays and sort of stuff will still rise, and m-commerce will hit, an all-time high. So, whatever's going on, it's still a really positive outlook for 2022. It's definitely still growing. It's an opportunity that we should definitely focus on. So, perhaps if we can move those figures from, preparation from 2 or 3 to at least a 4, a 3 or a 4 or even a 5. We definitely know that the size of opportunity is definitely there, but there's some pretty big numbers from that sort of side as well. So when we talk about the 6 things holiday shoppers expect from your brand, this has been sort of kind of driven from lots of polls and lots of kind of data that we've driven in there as well. So, you know, first of all, the sort of kind of offer genuine discounts and promotions. I think there's, you know, lots of companies you've seen some negative backlash over the years for inflated prices going into, you know, going to sale to obviously show volumes of discounts. So the expectation from a consumer that the offer has to be genuine. So the discounts have to be real and the promotions have to be real from that perspective, not just inflated for that certain period of the year. We need to provide, you know, flexible payment and delivery options. We all know the expectation from customer levels have, you know, gone up dramatically over the last couple of years. You know, whether it be next day delivery or even same day delivery on some things, you know, we just said, so that whole, you know, delivery options, the flexible sort of kind of payment options of where, you know, we pay through sort of third parties for sort of kind of larger items on that side. So we know we have to give that flexibility and that sort of kind of ease of purchase. We need to give sort of kind of, you know, give excellent customer service. That's where the reviews and sort of stuff there from Dennis and his team really come into importance, you know, is understand the sentiment of your customers and making sure that that customer service, what they're receiving is really good, because we know it's a very sort of kind of fragile sort of kind of ecosystem with customers now. If they don't buy from you, they'll buy from somebody else. So it's very important that customer service aspect is really, really sort of kind of driven through. You know, we need to personalize the experience always. People expect, you know, especially when they're looking for things that have to be served with the right offers, the right promotions, the right content, and also the right product choice based on their previous buying patterns or their research capabilities or their behavior on the day. So, you know, they are expecting that sort of personalized, this kind of experience from that side. We need to prepare for early shoppers. We know that people are organized, people are structured, people like to go into that. So we have to make sure the capacity is there earlier on when those offers and sort of stuff are there. And we have to be where our customers are. So, you know, looking at channel strategies, very key to understand not every, you know, if there's offers we're sending out to drive customers there, that if we sent them an email, we know they haven't opened it, then that's not a channel they're present in. We have to look at other channels where we can communicate with them as well. So just 6 key takeaways there. I'm sure none of it will come as a surprise, but it's a good sort of just refresher just to make sure that we are in our overall sort of kind of strategies looking at all these different elements as we go through. So what we're going to do now is really, I want to really lean on our experts here. Unfortunately, Mark, the person who unfortunately couldn't join the call today. So we're going to really sort of kind of leverage our experience from our experts that are here. There is the facility for a Q&A at the end. So feel free to throw as many questions as you want in those particular points at the end, and we'll really we'll dive into those a little bit more detail. So I'm going to start with Nicola. So Nicola, I've known for many years. You know, great experience working with, you know, high street fashion brands, you know, and various big sort of kind of retailers across Europe. I'd like to know from you perspectively, what sort of kind of 3 things you wish you'd known before the sort of kind of launching your holiday campaigns. So what sort of kind of key 3 things would you be looking at from your expertise?
Okay, so I think first and foremost, the big learning for me over the years has really been about it's not about which brand can shout the loudest and the most often during this kind of 3-day or 4-day window. And that's the kind of trap, I suppose, that a lot of people fell into, isn't it? You know, it was just this kind of competition for real estate, competition for share of voice, in pursuit of driving as much demand and as much revenue as you possibly could in what is quite a small window. So I suppose what I now kind of lean towards is that idea that, you know, it is a busy time wherever you start your holiday period, based on sort of your customers. So whether that is Halloween or it's a bit earlier, whether it's a bit closer into Christmas, or maybe it is just around Black Friday and Cyber Monday, it's busy in all senses of the word. So what do we want? What do our customers want? Do they want multiple emails a day saying the same thing? I don't think so. And do our teams work best when we are putting them under that pressure to send multiple emails a day about the same thing? I don't think they do. So for me, it's all about making sure that you use that time wisely and you use the resource that you've got, the technology and the data that you've got wisely across that period. So that, just like you were saying, Jason, in terms of that, you know, that channel strategy, you're identifying who you want to target. So who actually do you want to notice what you're doing during the holiday period? What do they want to know about what you're doing? Have you got the right messages in front of them? Are they going to be interested? Is it going to be personalized? Is it going to be relevant to them? Are you showing up in the channels that they're likely to see you in? Because if you're not, then it's kind of wasted marketing. And are you also showing up in those channels at a time when they're likely to notice what you've got to say? And I think if you can really kind of think about it in that way, then you start to do more of what your customers want, and you start to use the resource that you've got within your teams to best effect over this time. So that's my first one. My second one would probably be around the use of discount and promotion. So you're absolutely right. You know, this period of time is littered with lots of promotions, lots of discount codes, lots of price comparison. And I don't think you would ever do any kind of poll where customers said that they weren't interested in that. So it's just, for me, that's part of doing business in this period of time. But I think we also need to be aware that it's not always about discount and price reduction, because actually, and I think, particularly as we go into this Christmas, money's going to be tighter. People are going to be much more mission led, so they will be looking for certain things and looking for the best price and the best deal on those things. But they'll also be doing that research, and they don't do research at the time that they want to shop. They're doing it weeks in advance. So I think the thing that I would be encouraging teams to do is really kind of use those search terms and event tracking in the weeks leading up to the holiday period to inform you what's going on, what are they looking for, what are they interested in, how long are they spending on your site, what types of pages are they looking at. Really kind of tune into who's abandoning bags and why might that be? Is it because products are out of stock? Is it because products are delayed? Is it because people haven't necessarily decided that that's the best price that you're going to get to? So really use those sorts of behaviours to inform that onward communication journey with them. And then, let's not forget, ask them. The customers are people, and they love being asked things. They love giving feedback to the brands that they care about and the brands that they want to shop with. So ask them what's important to them. Ask them what you can do better during this holiday period. And then finally, I would probably say it's about the post-purchase as well. So much effort at the moment will be going into how do we drive more traffic? How do we get more people onto site? How do we get more conversion? And of course, that's important. It drives the profit and it drives the performance of your holiday season. But that post-purchase execution, the way that you treat people after they shopped with you is so critical to whether they're going to continue to shop with you over those other occasions, either during holiday or into the new year, but also so that they come back next year as well. So let's really kind of hone down on what those processes look like. We know that people will want stuff and they want a good price, but also they want to feel like they know where they're up to in terms of when their order's going to arrive, and it arrives on time and delights them. So I think let's focus on that part of the journey as well.
Great, thank you. That's some really valid points, and again, from your experience of having worked from places like Holland and Barrett through to Misguided, it's complete slight end of the scale as well. From very sort of high street fashion, fast turnover side, so the health and well-being, plus lots of other products and sort of stuff there as well. So that's great. Thank you, Nicola. Over to you, Diego. So rather than 3, let's go through. Let's push the boat out a little bit and go for 5. We can get a bit of sort of stuff there as well, so keep it under pressure. So as it goes up, so stand by, Dennis. You might go to 7, but from a 5 perspective, let's kind of from your perspective, as you said, you're coming from a slightly different angle, from a slightly different sector, from a slightly different market. What things do you wish you knew before those kind of holiday campaigns perspective?
So yeah, I mean, I agree a lot with Nicola. Some points are very, very similar, especially the one about not planning for post-holiday engagement. That's something that very, very important, especially in fashion. So it's not about just the big discount. You could actually use the big discount to attract new user, do some user acquisition, pump up the visits. But then again, my advice to leverage this moment to actually not only work on the conversion or on the revenue, but to actually give the opportunity to the user to explore like your app, your website, your feature, your product, and so on and so forth, even if you have to do it in a longer time. But now you take like the Black Friday, the big discount, that's the trigger to get the people in, and then you have email push notification or like personalization inside the app or the website to actually nurture the relationship and help the user understand your biggest value. And that's especially in retail, where in fashion luxury retail, you sell pretty much the same products of our competition. So your actual advantage is on the platform itself. So you need to kind of educate the people on your best features and benefits. So that's one thing. For sure, you have to take into consideration during holiday season. Another aspect is, as Nicola would say, is not like bombarding people with email and push notification. You should leverage all the channel you have. What I found is that an omni-channel strategy works the best, and if you can integrate as much channels as possible from acquisition and engagement, it's where you find the right symmetry. So every channel should be dedicated to his place. So if it's an acquisition or like just working on brand awareness, and then you have engagement through email and push notifications. So you give the users the freedom to choose the right journey, because I mean, especially when you work in big corporation with a lot of users in different countries, you don't know which is the right customer journey. And the truth is that everyone has a different customer journey, so you should engage with different channels just to make sure you reach the user wherever is the best for him. That's another point. Another point, of course, as you just already say, is about personalization. So during holiday season, you have different holidays in different countries, and depending on holidays for holidays, the intent of the user may change. Especially like during Christmas, it's more about doing presents and gifting, while maybe on Black Friday is about getting the best deal just for yourself. So you should tailor the offer, the communication to every single user, especially like for even a smaller festivity in smaller country. Like for example, in China, we have like the Golden Week, or there is the single day that is more felt than the Black Friday, for example. So you have to take into consideration all this kind of festivity and leverage them. That's another point. Talking again about like competition, what I feel like is that people expect the big discount, especially like on Black Friday and Christmas. And so everyone is doing discount, and it's very hard to gain a place inside the customer mind kind of thing. So what I advise to do is you can prepare your campaign in advance. So without shutting down the promo code, you can work on brand code. Like for example, what we do in Luisa Roma is something called like prepare your wish list for the Christmas, for the Black Friday, and you do that like in advance before the actual holiday. So you can kind of work on brand call, and the user remember that, yeah, I'm going to consider different competitor, different website to purchase these items. But then again, you are already in the mind of the customers because you're already in contact with them with a not so pushy communication. And so that's another point. As I said before, yeah, holiday is not about like having the best deal. So like during Christmas, it's more about doing presents for your family and friends. So you should tailor the communication every time. So it shouldn't be just about not buy this product at this discount, but buy this product because of this reason. You can work on like gift guide, kind of to understand like and guide the user to actually fulfill a need that is okay buying the product, but because you're going to give it to another person.
Yeah, I love that idea about the wish list before sale. I really like
Yeah.
that kind of concept about sort of kind of having, you know, pre-sale. So I mean that's great for you from an analytics perspective, because you can see where the interest clusters are as well around products going into sales, so you can perhaps manage discount volumes. I mean, I guess that's a, you know, from Nicola and Diego, the retail perspective, how do you feel about discounts? Because I know, having worked with lots of retailers, it's this bit of the cat and mouse game, isn't it, with your competitors, you know, and whatever environment we've always got these competitors, haven't we, that we're kind of our arch enemies on sale, and it's that sort of kind of who goes into sale first to try and cannibalize on the market. How you know, what's your viewpoint on that? I mean, obviously everybody has the campaigns ready and they try and either go early to try and get the size of the pot, which we discussed earlier, as much line share, or it's a case of leaving it as late as possible to try and do margin protection for as long as possible from discounts. But so what do you feel about discounts? Do you feel it's the same, like, you know, it should be 50% to everybody, or do you feel there should be a strategy around not everybody needs 50%? People need, you know, 50% might be 30% with somebody, or 20%. What do you think about that whole dichotomy about a varied discount level depending on consumers? Nicola, what's your viewpoint on that? I'll throw you on the spot.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So it's like I said, I think discounts, promotions are basically, you know, business as usual for me in any retail company. I think it's just one of those things that we now have to accept are part of the way that we do business. In respect of, you know, should they be different for different people? Well, yes, because different people will respond differently to different types of mechanics. But that's why it's so important to start to fine tune your communications with your technology and with your data, because it's not so much about whether one approach is right or wrong. It's about the level to which you please or dissatisfy your customer, to put it politely. Yeah. So the things that I think, you know, are where people go wrong are when they say, okay, well, we have a discount strategy and everybody gets the same discount. And so everybody sees that level of discount. But what you then spend your time doing as a brand is showing me the thing that I bought 3 days ago, now reduced by 25%, 35%, sometimes up to 50%, because that's just going to annoy me. And you're spending money from your brand marketing budget to target me when you know that I've just purchased that 3 days ago. So in those circumstances, should I see that promotion? Well, yes, if I come organically to your site, but don't push it towards me, because I've recently purchased, I've recently bought something, and I don't want to be shown that it's that now on a discount. But that said, you know, there are other ways of looking at sort of more discreet approaches to using promotions to nurture and to develop that sense of loyalty and to develop those loyal behaviours. So if actually this is not about getting rid of stock or end of season clearance, but it's actually about rewarding customers or encouraging customers to take the next best action, then I think that's when discreet promotioning can work well, and where you should use your data and your technology to give some rewards to some customers and different ones to others.
No, I mean, as we all know, top 3 things is definitely send someone an offer on a discounted price they bought recently. I mean, that's one way to certainly burn a customer very, very quickly from that perspective, and that's a lot of that side. Diego, from your perspective, you know, how do you approach? Is it? I mean, as I've seen various retailers approach that, as you said, as Nicola was saying, the blanket discounting perspective and the strategic discounting perspective. What's your view on
that? So now I agree with Nicola. You should try to offer different discount to different people and reward the most like loyal and engaged users. So what we do usually, we divide our user base in kind of VIP customers, non-IP customers, full price and promo price customer. Because obviously work in a luxury environment, you know that there are people that care more about the product itself than the price of the product. Especially if there are people that buy a lot of high luxury fashion brands. So definitely with this kind of VPI customers, you can work more closely, offer them maybe a bigger discount early on so they can have all the proper time to access your catalog, make sure they can find the best product before they go sold out. We kind of like differ also the communication strategies, because with these VIP users that are more engaged, we actually have more interaction, so we kind of can send them more communication. We have different kind of communication. We have also like personal shopper that actually call these users, so it's very different relationship, and of course they're treated different because they are our best customers in this way. Then of course we have like the discount broadcast to everyone, and this kind of set the tone in the competition. So you need to be not to align your discount to the other competitors, but as well you can do like micro promo strategies, like for particular countries, or maybe like for particular kind of like users. So leverage your data to understand they are familiar with some sort of product that are very low in stock in general because are more exclusive. So you can work on that. It's very hard when you have a lot of customers, but you should definitely include I mean, you should definitely avoid one-fit-all strategy for promos.
Yeah, no, very valid points. Very valid points. And I guess, Dennis, just from your perspective, I mean, we've been discussing about strategies going into sale. We've been discussing about the effective sort of kind of strategic discount levels. What's the sort of kind of view from your perspective on ratings? Sort of kind of pre-sales, post-sales, year-to-year comparison. Do you, if people get it wrong in, you know, for example, the Nicola example gave, you know, as I said, you know, if somebody was the campaign, how does that ultimately affect in that, you know, that customer sentiment perspective from your side? What have you seen from the impact of reviews, for example?
Yeah, so as you already shown, like on the slides, on the charts that we shared at the beginning, we really didn't see like a lot of effect in general on the shopping apps, on the travel apps, in terms of the average number of views, in terms of the average ratings on these days, before and after and during the holidays. So when we take like these periods and looking at the top 20, top 30 apps in each of this category in general, we didn't see it. Probably in terms of some, I don't know, kind of epic fail for some of these apps, definitely like the rating drop will happen, and it will affect a lot their reputation first, their conversion rate, probably the loyalty of their users. But like adding like to the things that Diego said, like for example about the promotion campaign, something else that you should prepare it in advance. The same should be said about the reviews management, reputation management, working with your average rating, that you should start it long before the holidays, like trying to create the community around the app and trying to respond like to reviews, especially to the negative ones, to the long ones, because it will help a lot in the future. When the holidays comes, you will have much more loyal users that can be loyal to your app, to your brand, and probably will choose you against the competitors when it's time like to make a purchase of some kind.
Very valid. You know, that's, people lose sight of the customer experience. It's not just about the discount levels, isn't it? It's about the whole overall experience of, you know, how you retain those customers moving forward, because there is life after peak sale period, whatever celebration it is. There's definitely life on the other side, and you want to retain that customer moving forward. So I'm going to throw it back to you, Nicola. So kind of, I want to sort of turn about, what have you learned about customer behavior around what have you seen, huge experience in CRM and loyalty strategies. What have you learned about sort of kind of customer behavior over the years that you've seen in particular peak times? Is it a change in behavior? Is it the same year in, year out? Have you seen anything particularly change in a buying pattern apart from the discount incentive effectively? But what sort of kind of things have you seen?
Yeah, I think we have seen change, and we're probably going to see more change still, aren't we? This is the first of a holiday season that is probably going to be uninterrupted from a pandemic, but we are living in the wake of that, I suppose. And if we cast our mind back sort of 6-7 years ago, then it absolutely was a race to the bottom on price, and it was particularly in the UK, I suppose, a very new and novel idea that we would sort of have these big events in the run up to Christmas. And I think we have seen change. We've seen changes in attitude. We've seen changes in ability to shop. So we've seen changes in the way that people shop in the last couple of years. And I think going into this season, we will see changes in terms of how much money is spent and how people spend that money. Now, I think we've already seen earlier in the webinar that we're not expecting that people will spend nothing, but we are expecting that they will be more conscious, more intentional about how they spend that money. And so I think we have seen those changes over time. What have I noticed that stood out most? Well, I think there's always this kind of excitement and impulsiveness, and we drive that as marketeers, and I'm guilty of it. We drive that, don't we? Because we want people to feel excited about the season, because that's what spurs them on to actually start parting with their money. And we've talked about the fact that it is a good deal, but equally, I think people will be doing lots of research, and I think as we've been saying, we want to try and elongate that process. So if you imagine that I'm sitting here in September and I'm maybe thinking about what I might need for the holiday season and when I might buy it, because I'm going to be conscious about my spending, and I'm going to plan that spending, and I'm going to be looking for deals on certain things. And so that research period starts now, really, doesn't it? It starts now, and it starts by looking at who's offering the things that I want and how I might want to buy. And I think what we can do with our communication strategy to reflect that and to mirror that back and to empathize, which is kind of one of the key things I think that brands should take from the last few years, is that need to demonstrate empathy, is to help customers along that journey. So rather than thinking, in a very kind of traditional and simplistic way, oh, that visitor looked at that thing, let's send them lots of communications to try and get them to buy it. Let's look at it in terms of, okay, this customer is showing a degree of interest either through search terms or through site behavior in these products. Let's now start putting them on this journey towards conversion. And I'm going to put them on this journey that gives them information, helps them with their buying decisions, helps them compare the market, helps them understand what they're buying, so that ultimately, as my communications increase to them, they get used to me, their trust builds with me, and then ultimately when I then communicate to them about the fact that I've got a great deal on it, they convert. And I think sometimes we're just a little bit reticent about taking that long journey because we just want to see the conversion. So I think that would be my first one, really, is let's really kind of use the learnings from the last few years, how we think customers will behave, and start to change our approach to how we convert.
No, really valid. Thank you, Nicola. And again, Diego, just from your perspective, we know it's a changing landscape on, for example, mobile first. That's your area of expertise and sort of stuff there as well. We've gone through, the very traditional sort of kind of ecosystem of bricks and mortar to websites and to digital first businesses and app first businesses, respectively, that don't have any bricks and mortar. So how do you think from your side that's changing and you touched on your points about this kind of omni-channel strategy perspective? How do you think we should strategize around the communications across in a digital first age perspectively for sales? Because, you know, it used to be a big banner in the window, you know, saying 50% off today. You know, then there was an email campaigns that used to go out with, you know, 50% off today. But as we know, with lots of consumers or lots of kind of segments, they don't really engage in emails. So what's your kind of view on that?
So definitely it's like look at your data and understand like where people actually want to be contact. So as you said before, like for example, the newsletter channel is a very unique channel, and we have not a lot of open over emails, but the people that actually open really enjoy the newsletter because it's a very big space to communicate fashion. You can build now outfits, so you can give them inspiration, ideas, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of people that want to be contacted with the newsletter because they receive value. So you should leverage and give to those users just the newsletter, not bombarding them with other channel. Then of course you have people that doesn't respond so well to your mail, and then you can leverage other kind of channel like push notification. As well, they are more quick and dirty, and they can now just maybe work on the discounts or like on product release, on product drops. That works like it's a more short journey. For example, when we launch a new sneakers or a new collection, of course push notification are more valid because it's instant communication, and the user has to speed up, enter the app or the website, whatever, to actually get the sneaker or whatever before they go sold out. So it really changed about the user's behavior as well, the products in terms of communication. But yeah, you have to understand where people like to engage and to buy. And even if you see that people like to buy on the website, you should aim to give them the best experience and not bombarding them with like mobile activity, because I don't know, they feel like the website is the right place to buy fashion, and other people prefer the mobile. So you have to give the user the freedom to convert and explore your brand whatever they want. So it's a little bit tricky, but again, it's not a one-fit-all strategy, and you have to look at your data to understand it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the importance of that customer-centric approach, isn't it? You know, understand not every customers are the same, you know, different engagement points, different channels of, you know, engagement. And that's holistically, it's not just a traditional sign on the window or the email campaign that goes out at 7 a.m. in the morning. We've moved past that, and our strategy's got to be, you know, it's got to be part of that play, isn't it? You know, that's certainly, but no, thanks very much for that. And Dennis, for example, you know, reviews, any advice from your perspective on review strategies going into, we've talked about you know, pricing strategies from Nicola and Diego, we're talking about sort of omni-channel sort of strategies. What sort of kind of review strategy have you got any advice on that, you know, that customers should look at and engage in going into these kind of holiday period sales?
Yeah, so the main thing that we're pushing in a follow is the automation. Like we have the automation tools features in our platform, so they're helping a lot, like with automatically categorizing all the reviews. So you will see like this automatic tags like that will show you like what are the main topics that are coming from the reviews, or automated replies that will help to reply to some of the short reviews or positive reviews automatically, and that will free your customer support agents to reply to more complicated topics that like need your more personal approach to them, like that will help a lot. But other than that, like if we are talking only about the manual like replies, manual working with the reviews, it's pretty much the same, categorizing all the reviews that you have, trying to reply to as much of them as you can, but trying to prioritize like the the reviews with a low rating for sure, and also like the longest reviews, because if the user spends so much time like writing this long review and like trying to explain in their problem, their issue, that means that you probably should also spend like more time on like trying to solve this issue, and for the user to feel that he or she was heard by the brand, like by the team of the app that they're using. So it probably will be like my two main points there.
No, amazing. Thank you very much for that. That's certainly really interesting. So thank you very much. Just those initial questions. We're just going to move to a sort of bit of a wrap up of the panel, sort of some of the panel points and sort of stuff there as well, and then feature to the sort of kind of Q&A perspectively. So, so the key takeaways, you know, we need to think about those sort of kind of campaigns if we want a successful sort of kind of holiday season. You know, we need to really think about, you know, beyond that, what's next, rather than just the driving the campaigns and the sales on the day or the sales over a certain period from that perspectively. You know, we know peak season is beginning earlier and lasting longer. You know, those sales, as we all know, start in October, still there on Christmas Day. What's the strategy around that, around some of the brands? I quite often look at those and think, what's the purpose on that side? We know digital is here to stay. We've covered that, the evolution of businesses as they've evolved. We've got plenty of digital first businesses that are here today, that, you know, have just been born out of that sort of kind of ecosystem, have not migrated from bricks and mortar, but even the bricks and mortars are doing a lot more digitally as well. So we have to, it is here to stay, and it's a fast growth sort of market. So we have to have that digital strategy off the back of it. And understanding the customers are delivering their preferred experiences is the new baseline. So back to Dennis's point, you know, looking at really assessing the, you know, the reviews and the feedback, you know, having that strategy in place, you know, those preferred experiences, whether it's Diego's point, whether it's about the sort of kind of right channel, sort of kind of strategy, communication strategy, Nicola from a discount strategy and sort of stuff, and a loyalty strategy as well. You know, it's different people getting different incentives to drive them. And also the kind of physical and digital channels must, you know, coexist in harmony. You know, there's nothing worse than getting a certain discount on email and a certain discount online and a certain product elsewhere. That's another frustration point of that. Those key points to really upset and, you know, how to annoy customers, which then probably results in, you know, people going and doing a very long, lengthy review with, you know, with a review platform to basically say, look, I'm really unhappy with this experience. And the chances are you're probably going to burn that customer as it goes there as well. So, and shoppers always looking for the next big thing. You know, it's, you know, love the point from Diego about people doing a wish list. And so when it comes into sale, you know, they've got that kind of pre-strategy, pre-event, sort of kind of like holding room type sort of strategy there as well. So kind of, we really, you know, they're looking for the next big thing. You know, there's always those discount hunters, which is just basically looking for the biggest discount they can find on the day. But that's one aspect. You know, I think we're all collectively on the webinar today trying to look at it as a more of a strategic thing, as opposed to just one day to just drive as many sales as possible. Still a thing, but we want to build it as a basically a sort of kind of loyalty and engagement strategy off the back of that. So when just to highlight on the kind of great sort of kind of giveaway and sort of stuff there as well, a lot of this data, a lot of the kind of conversations we've had, a lot of some of the snippets that we've spoken about in the webinar are actually in a sort of kind of an ebook which we've done, which you'll all be sent via email. So, you know, it's talking about sort of kind of, you know, how we can sort of really drive those strategies that we've all discussed today. And stay ahead of the competition. So that'll all be shared on email after this webinar, and you'll all have access to that before it goes live to the wider public sort of stuff in a few weeks. So you know, that's been a great, you know, a lot of work's gone into this kind of ebook, and we've managed to pull lots of data from lots of different sources and sort of stuff to contribute off the back of that there as well. So so the next thing is to go into any questions particularly we have, I know we don't have that much time left, but I'm just going to draw into a few of these kind of questions. But one of the questions there is, you know, I don't have a ton of budget and resources. You know, what would you say is the most important thing I can focus on to ensure the success of a holiday marketing campaign? Quite a wide ask that prospectively, but you know, if they're budget strapped, and I think a lot of businesses are looking at their spend now, so spend going into these campaigns is limited, expectation of the outcome of them is high. So is there any particular very short bits of advice you can give this particular person if they've got small budgets and resources, but they're really sort of trying to make a success of the holiday marketing. So unfortunately, we don't know the category or stuff there as well. So throw it to you, Nicola, first. Just one point you think that need any advice for this particular person?
So I think automation is key. I think, you've mentioned resource there and limited budget. So I think automate as much as you can, and don't try to come up with one killer thing. Just do what you do amplified better. Take something that works for you today and do it just one marginal gain better.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Diego, from you.
Yeah, I probably would say, like, in terms of budget, if you're spending money in like acquisition, maybe focus on user that you lost in some way and try to win them back. It's usually cheaper and easier because you don't have to, they already know you, so you don't have to start the relationship again, and maybe they are more attentive in this period because it's holiday. So maybe it's cheaper to bring them in one more time and finally convert them.
Yeah, so there's an opportunity to really re-engage with that customer that was churn for whatever reason, or not necessarily churn, but as I said, not hasn't used you for a while. And I think that's a great strategy. And everybody looks at sometimes this as an acquisition funnel. It should also be looked at as a retention strategy as well, and a loyalty strategy, back to your point, Nicola. So it should be not only acquisition for new customers, but retention strategy of existing customers and driving loyalty across the brand and sort of stuff, and a re-engagement strategy. So this is where the complexities of a proper sort of kind of holiday season campaign really come into it. So Dennis, from your perspective, same question to you very quickly. Limited budgets, limited resources. Any key things from your takeaway from a review perspective that they can look at?
Yeah, just start tagging and replying to reviews today, and also ask for the positive reviews and ratings inside the app after some successful event in your app, and will also help a lot to get more positive feedback that will also be shown to the other users on your app page.
Thank you very much for that. And probably just last question we're going to have time for today, but given the current economic sort of kind of climate, do you think that we should implement a completely different holiday campaign strategy? If so, what should be changed, taken into account the most? So I guess, again, quite a wide question from that perspectively, but the unknown, we don't know. Perspectively from the economic climate, is it doom or gloom? Or it's not as bad as we think it is? Is it going to drive the more financially incentives customer? So is there anything we should implement different this year based on post-pandemic? Back to your point, Nicola, also going to potentially economic sort of kind of climate, in the current economic climate where there's, in some of the regions, they're forecasting a recession or different things as well. So should we change? Let's go to Diego first on this one. Anything from your perspective? Do you think we should change in strategy or?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, you have to obviously adapt your strategy to the economic climate. But again, you should already know more or less about the behaviors of your user, because it's gonna be more or less the same. And like during holiday season, yeah, you could expect like people spending more and be more conscious about price, whatever. But if strategies and acquisition campaign, automation, whatever works in the year, why not keep them also holiday season? And what you should change is maybe try to test something new, just because this is the first post-pandemic holiday season. So just reserve some budget resource to test different strategies. And so at least you can learn something and then apply for the next years.
Yeah, no, agreed. I mean, we've never been through this period before in our lives, have we? So, how much can we know before, but back to your point, test, see what's working.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it's not working, stop it. So,
and plus you have to consider that, I mean, the holiday season, especially in fashion retail, is very long holiday season, because you start like from now Halloween, or like even before, so I would say before like mid-October, people start looking for discount on deals, whatever. So you have like plenty of time to test stuff like during October, and when you find your insights or some tests that really works, you can then scale it up on like Black Friday and Christmas. So
perfect, thank you, Diego. And just the last comment from you, Nicola. Any other advice around that sort of kind of question from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I think we shouldn't go into this holiday season feeling like we need to change everything, but we shouldn't also be afraid of testing new things. And for me, it just really boils down to two key things, really. Show empathy. So, you know, we know that we're coming out of the back of what has been a really weird time, and we're going into a time when people are probably facing some of the most difficult financial times that they've ever experienced. So as a brand, just show empathy. You don't have to count yourself out. You don't have to sort of go into that period thinking nobody's going to spend any money with me, but just demonstrate empathy through everything that you do. So kind of comes back to those top tips, doesn't it, about, you know, if you're doing a promotion, if you're doing a discount, make sure it's a genuine one and a good one. If you've got delivery propositions, you know, make sure that they're good. You know, plan for out of stocks, plan for distribution delays, and be good about it. You know, show up and front it out and be clear with people what they can expect. And I think, you know, most importantly, just kind of, you know, remember that people are people, and the sessions that you're counting on your site and the orders that you're counting there's people behind that, and they need solutions. They need solutions for the situation that they're in. And if you can show empathy and provide solutions, then that's a pretty good blueprint for me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. So I'd like to thank Nicola, Diego, and Dennis for their contributions today. As I said, we'll follow up with the email ebook and obviously the PowerPoint for the today's session as well. But thank you very much for attending, but really appreciate it. Thank you all for your time.